Hello, it's Amy.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. Do you see my co-central screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Looks like we have some people called in. Welcome. We will I'll give people a minute or two to jump on and then we can get started. Looks like we've got some mobile people, so if we could go around and say who's all on the call, that would be helpful. Amy, I know you're on the call. Welcome. Who else is on the call this afternoon?
Angie Smith from Engineering Enterprises.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Courtney, this is Chris Headley at SNME.
Hey, welcome. Long time no talk. Well, I guess over email. Heard your voice in a while, so welcome.
Thanks.
Looks like Natalie jumped on. Is anybody else on? If you just joined us, we're just introducing ourselves so I know who's on the call.
It's Cross Anderson with Natalie, Amber, and Megan.
Welcome.
Hi.
How cold is it up there? Do I even want to know?
It's not as bad as it was last week. It's, like 40.
Yeah,
We're good.
quite balmy.
That's good. I got an email from one person up there and I guess it was snowing. I was like, nope, I'm out.
We woke up to that joy this morning.
Yeah. There was a little slush on the cars. At least it wasn't icy though, so that's good. The little joys.
Yes, exactly. All right, I show 2 minutes past, so we'll go ahead and get started and then anybody else can jump in. I'm also recording, so we'll send the recording out. All right, so today we're going to talk about the advanced strategy and then some of the new plans that come with that. So if you are the overall firm administrator, you should have this app market here on the left. If you do not, just put in a ticket and request that you have the app market. As I've been doing workshops and trainings this year, I have discovered that not everybody got the app market that was pushed out. Hopefully, since you all are active or former clients, you do have it. We try to make sure that that is something that's in all the accounts that we jump into. But if you don't for some reason, just put in a ticket and they'll add that to your account. If you are already there, then what we're going to be looking at today is this first section, which is the advanced strategy. And then we're also going to be looking at the meeting plan here. If you don't have those installed, go ahead and do that if you want to follow along. If you don't, then that's totally fine. You can just watch this. I know some people like to do these trainings where my screen's on one of your screens and then your account is on the other, so you can follow along. If you want to do that, go ahead and install them. Before I jump into that, I did want to take a minute to do some housekeeping. If you go to status.cocentral.com, if you have not already gone out to this, I would highly suggest it. Status.cocentral.com and click subscribe in the upper right hand corner so that you're following their operational status, so you know if their systems go down, if their servers are slow, if they're going to do maintenance. They tend to do maintenance over the weekends now, but you get notifications of all of their system status, which is helpful. If you ever have questions of, oh my gosh, is CoCentral just running slow? Is it just my server? Is it just my internet? Then you can come out here too and see if they're running slow or if there's any trouble. They tend to do a pretty good job at describing what's going on if there is an issue, so that you know, hey, this might be sporadic and you might not have any trouble, or you are just on that server bank that is having trouble. So if you have not already subscribed, please do so. status.cocentral.com. The other one that I wanted to point out is to receive updates now on the product. You have to go to support and follow. I cannot type and talk at the same time. Okay. If you go out to support, and you go to product update here in the documentation center.
Hey, Courtney, your screen hasn't changed.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, new share.
There we go.
You see Safari now? Okay, I had to switch browsers because our demo account does not have support.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm now in Safari. So let me start over. Go to CoCentral support. In the documentation center, you'll see product update here. Once you click this, you'll see a list of the product updates. If you click see all, up here in the right-hand corner, click follow so that you follow and get all of their product updates. They're not sending those emails for some reason anymore, and I haven't seen many pop-ups within the system. So you can get the release notes here, and then you'll get an email that notifies you that there's new release notes. One thing to note about the latest release notes that we got, this came out twice. Once it was a day premature, and now this one came out 11 days ago. One thing I want to make note of is this area here. It says that it is an enhancement that has been released. It is not there. You are not going crazy. I guess they're experiencing issues with it. So this advanced security is not actually live in accounts yet. I have a ticket in, so when this is live, I can let anybody know that is interested in this. It's just added security for two-factor authentication if you want to turn that on for your account. Looks like we've got a chat. Okay, so in the chat, it looks like they said on the webinar today that it's going to be released next week. I talk to support on a regular basis, and I talked to them again this morning, and they actually don't have a date for this. I guess they're hoping for next week. Again, I've got a ticket, so I can let you guys know if and when it is actually live. One thing I do want to point out is they have released the documentation for it. So if you go out to this release, there is a hyperlink to the download, so you can actually see what's coming. So if you want to take it to your IT, or if you are IT and you want to review it, then there is documentation for what is coming and what's to be expected, so that you can decide if you want to install this and use it for your account. So the documentation is pretty thorough, so you can look through that if you want to. All right. So those are two of the housekeeping things. Follow status.cocentral.com, and then also follow these release notes, the product updates here in the upper right-hand corner. If you're using CoCentral for Outlook, I would recommend following that as well. So if you go out to the user guides on the far right, or you can search CoCentral for Outlook, here is their user guide, and they seem to be updating this pretty regularly. Right now it's about once a month that they seem to be updating it with all the new features that are coming out. So if you follow this, every time that you that they update this guide, you'll receive notification so that you can re-download that. So that's a good one to follow. Does anybody else follow any other guides or post that you would highly recommend the group follow as well? And if you don't have audio, feel free to use the chat feature as well, and I'll read it to the group. All right, cool. Most of these you can follow, so if you do find something that you want to follow, you can also, I know Amy follows a lot of the conversations, so out in the community area, you can follow some of these as well. So I don't follow them because I don't want to get yet more emails. So if you want to follow them, you can follow here and see any of the conversations that are going on out in the community as well. All right, so now let's dive in to the meat of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with meeting plan first because it's kind of its own little lone agent. I would have thought that it would be part of here because that's where all the other plans are. However, it's not. So when you come out here, there's a ton of information. I'm being sarcastic. There's nothing. This is all you get. There's little to nothing in support. It took our team a stupid amount of time to figure out where meeting plan shows up in CoCentral. So I'm going to save you some heartache. If you are creating a call log, either from the activities, from a record, or if you're creating a call log here from your shortcuts, wherever you generate a call log from, if you have meeting plan, let's see if I can move my little Zoom bar. If you have meeting plan installed, where did it go? Here in the upper right hand corner, if you have it installed and you've got a little check here, then what you're going to see is down at the very bottom of a call log, you will now have a checkbox that says meeting plan. If you check that box and scroll down, you will see a list of questions about that activity. I've been told that this is in line with a business development training program. That's where these questions are coming from. You cannot edit them. They are what they are. You can go through and fill these out. They're text boxes. Some of them do have a drop down for duration. Most of them are text boxes. What I will tell you is that it is not printable yet. So in order to get it out, you would have to do a screenshot. That we can't report on these yet, so there is no way to get this information out. But if you are following this business development strategy or this theory, you can turn that on and then fill it out. Is anybody using meeting plan currently? I don't see any chat or audio. All right, so it is there. I forget the name. I had somebody in my workshop in Chicago 2 weeks ago tell me what this theory was, and I have completely spaced it. So if your business development team is using something, then this is potentially supportive for them. I don't like that you can't get it out, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. If you uncheck it, it's going to make it go away, and then it's gone. And then if I uninstall it, then when I go back out to the call log, it's supposed to be gone. Let's refresh. When I go back out to the call log, it should be gone. Yep, it's now gone. So the only way to see that meeting plan button is for the app to be installed in the App Store. Any questions about the meeting plan? All right, now we're going to go to advanced strategy. So here's where you'll find, oh, there's a chat. One moment. If I fill in the information and uncheck it at a later date, will the information still be there? I do not believe so. I think that the pop-up window said if you unclick this, it's going to go away. So I think you lose it. I'm not sure if you uninstall, if you would lose it altogether, but I do think that if you uncheck it, you lose all of that. We can test it really quick just to make sure. All right, so I've saved it. All right, it's still there. I'm going to uncheck it. It will clear the meeting plan data from this call log. Should I proceed? We will say yes. I'm going to click it back. Oh, it looks like it's still there even though it says it won't. But I'm going to assume that if I save and close, it's going to for real be gone. It's gone. So if you save and close with it unchecked, you've cleared the information. Any other questions about meeting plan? I don't have anyone using it in all of my trainings. I don't recommend using it only because you can't get it out. Once they make it available to get out, then maybe, but I'm not a fan of trapping information that you can't pull back out. So along those lines, the app market advanced strategy, typically I am not a fan, or to date, I have not been a fan of the account plan or the opportunity plan. However, they have now listened to many of us who have been asking for it to be either reportable or printable, and they have given us a print-friendly version. So now I'm getting on board with the account plan and the opportunity plan. So that's what we're going to look at for the rest of our time. And then I'll briefly start with the property plan, only because not many people are using it. If you are using the properties module over here, then that's where you'll see the plan. The properties module was built with the idea that if you were doing work at a location that you want to track for marketing purposes, then you can do so outside of contracts. An example of this is if you're doing work out at the airport, but you have contracts with different entities, like maybe you're doing a McDonald's or you're doing the baggage claim. One of them, the baggage claim, might be with American Airlines and the McDonald's is with McDonald's, but you want to be able to market and say, what am I doing at the airport, regardless of who I'm contracted with, because you might not directly contract with the airport. That's where properties comes in. I haven't seen anybody successfully using this yet. Most of us that have had Cocentral for a while already have a way to track this, either through a specific role on a project record. Anybody new to using Cocentral could start it this way and start using properties from implementation on. But I haven't seen anybody that's been using Cocentral for a while try to backtrack, only because it seems to be double work to try to start using properties if you've had the account for a long time. Is anybody on the call using properties? We've got one chat. Awesome. Katie Johnson, you are using properties. Do you care to share with us how or in what capacity? While she's typing, the one thing that I have seen people do is if you want to track like an industrial warehouse that might have several entities out there, or a retail space. So if you are working out at the Greenfield Development Retail Center and you want to track that you're doing you're building a Target or designing or engineering a Target, a Bed Bath & Beyond, and a Party City. Well, each of those are going to be separate contracts, but I want to market everything that I'm doing at that retail development, then that can be a property. It looks like they just finished implementation, so it was easy for us to start storing data this way. We do a lot of projects at universities. Oh, ports is a good example. University systems, that's great. Airports, etc. Over many years and at different locations on the same site. This allows us to look at the property as a whole. That's fantastic, and I'm so glad that y'all did it from the beginning. Very helpful when gathering data for a pursuit. Absolutely. Those of us who have had CoCentral a long time, we historically have used the parent-child relationships or, like I said, a different role on the project record in order to try to capture that. So it's difficult to go backwards and then start using properties if we've already established that in the account. But I'm glad to hear that you have used it from the beginning. That's fantastic. All right, so if you are considering using properties or if you already have the properties established, up here in the right-hand corner is where they give you the property plan. So here you can click this and it's gonna load the plan. Eventually. Well, that is fun. Just in case this takes a while for the others. Oh, did I lose CoCentral? Okay, good. I was like, if I lost CoCentral altogether, that's going to make me really sad. All the plans are taking a while. Cool. All right, looks like property plan has loaded. So the idea of the plans that CoCentral has come up with is to be able to look at records on a high level, a summary level. So it'll take and bring in certain information from the record itself up here at the top. And then as you scroll down, you'll start to see a lot of text fields. So here again is kind of why I haven't been a fan of this historically, because if I'm going to spend a lot of time typing something out, then I'm going to want to be able to get that information out. What you'll see right now is that this plan is not printable, so you're going to trap all the information that you write here and not be able to print it. However, you can export this one. So that is different than the others. I have not used the export feature. I'm not sure how it gets exported. Katie, if you guys have been exporting, that would be great if you want to tell me if you're happy with how it's been exporting. I'm going to save these and then let's see how it exports. All right, we will see how it exports. I don't know if it did. Does not look like it exported to my downloads. That's fun. It doesn't look like it does anything. Okay. Well, that is fun. If anybody plays with that and wants to let me know.
CKearney, the owner of the company, CKearney, the owner of CKearney, as she like goes through CoCentral stuff, she's like, well, that's dumb. Why would they do it that way?
I'm not sure who, I don't know who to mute, who's talking, but yes, you get the good, the bad, the ugly with me.
I like it because it's like I trust her a little more because she's not just being like super salesy, you know?
I cannot tell who to mute. I'm just going to mute everybody just so we get that. Okay. So now moving past properties, I'm going to start with the account plan. So this is new language for CoCentral. Historically, we have heard everything in the context of companies. So when you are on a company record, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see account plan. You will, those of us who have been with CoCentral a long time know that typically what we see with development is that a potential client has asked for something to be in CoCentral in order for them to purchase CoCentral, and that's where the new development comes from. So their nomenclature got adopted. So now we have account plan instead of company plan, but those can be interchangeable. So when you are on the company record, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see account plan. Once you click it, you'll see in our browser that we've switched into the Client Excellence. That is the Client Excellence app, if you will. It's also the Advanced Strategy app. They were not consistent in how they were naming this. But what I do want to point out is that this is their new development interface. So anytime you see the orange and blue and the light gray interface, this is new development. If you're using the new CoCentral for Outlook, this should feel familiar because that is how it has been developed. The old modules and that scheme is slowly going away, and they're moving more towards this interface. So looking at this, it's the high level information. So if you have any task or call logs that are in the future, it will be here in the up next, and it is a hyperlink. So if I create one really quickly, let's go back to my oh, I didn't put the company. That's not helpful. Up next. If you have any contacts that are selected with the key contact yes, no, then that will show up here. So here, if you have this turned on and it says key contact yes, no, if you select yes, then it will show up on this as well with a hyperlink to that contact. You do have to have it turned on. If you were playing with it and turned it off at one point, those yeses will still come through even if you have that field turned off now. So you'll see that here, their name hyperlinked back to their contact record comes through, and then also their title. You'll see the call log is here. If it were a task, it would say task instead of call log, and then the date that it's either due or that the call log will start on. The personnel relationship here is determined down at the bottom when you have your relationship with the company associated personnel. One thing that I have a new client or a current client using this for is we have created a role that is assigned project manager or assigned account manager, whatever that nomenclature is for you, and then a secondary assigned project manager or account manager, so that when you're on the account record, you can see who is responsible for that client. In order to get this account manager in parentheses to show up, that is determined on the administrator area. So if you come out to administration and go to value list, when you look at the roles on, not roles, it's relationship of associated personnel. So here under companies, you'll see we've got BD rep, the same drop down that you just saw, except for this one is account manager, yes. and the others are no. So that's how that parentheses comes in after that role. So when I refresh, the personnel will be listed. If I had any associations, whether it's a lead record, opportunity, projects, or that they owned anything as an owner on a record, then that would be listed here. So you'll see the personnel that I attached and their role or relationship to the company. One common relationship that we see is former employee, because they tend to know a lot about that company. So I used to work for Beck. I would associate myself to the Beck record as a former employee, just indicating to all of my fellow colleagues that if they have a question on that company, they can come ask me, and I know most of the key players, so that you can see that relationship as well. Are there any other relationship roles that you guys have listed here that you would like to share with the group that are successfully being used for you? And I think I muted everybody earlier. So if you do want to use your mic, you'll have to unmute yourself. All right. Looking back at the account plan, there are a ton of text fields that you'll see that you can interact with. Clicking the edit, you can type, and then you can save. Again, previously, I wouldn't recommend this because you could never get it out. Well, now we have a printable summary, so you can get this information out. You can also relabel these in the configuration. So if we go back out to the app market, when you are on advanced strategy, in the upper right-hand corner is where you will find the configuration. So once you click that, you can come in and see all the different configurations up here. So if you're on the account plan, this is where you can either turn off or turn on certain things, or you can relabel them. You can also create a tooltip so that if you hover over something, you can define what that is. And I'm going to turn off one so that we can see. I'll turn off primary line so we can see how that looks. So now I'm going to refresh. If you have any open opportunities, open projects or completed projects, if you are using the actual dollars, they will come through here on those project records, as well as an overall count. And then your opportunities, and I want to say that this is your estimated fee or total estimated fee that will come through here. We have a chat. To turn on and off fields, you have to go back to the app market. Once you click on the advanced strategies, oh, that's fun. Once you click on the advanced strategies in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see configure. Most of the new features that they're rolling out through the app market, the configuration is within the app market. Confusing, I know. They gave us yet another new place to configure things. So my edits did not save. That is fun. Let's save one more time. I won't click off this time so I can actually see if it works. So if you go out to the app market, click on advanced strategies, that is where you will find the, oh, that's fun. Okay, well, it's supposed to save. and I turned this off in someone else's account last week. So I know that it was previously working. It seems to have a bug, but I think you guys get the idea. If I turn it off, this box is going to go away. And then if my tooltip were to work, when I hover over this, it would say strengths, weakness, opportunity, strength. It's not working, so I cannot show you that. Any questions on the overview area of the account plan? The open opportunities is a hyperlink because I have records there. Your open projects should also be a hyperlink if you have projects associated. So here the grid opens so that you can open those. We have relabeled fields in here, so I would have to go dig and figure out what we relabeled in order to know. Oh, it looks like we left this one alone. Let's see if it is total estimated fee. I'm hoping that we didn't relabel that something else while we were testing. All right. I'm so glad that this is going so slow. No. Unless we relabeled, it's not total estimated fee. I'm on server 3i. Is anybody else having issues with speed if you are logged in? I'm just curious if it's...
I've been in all day and I haven't had any issues.
Fantastic. I'm going to log out real quick and see if I can force myself onto a different server.
Okay. And I'm on that 3D server too, so.
I was on 3i. Were you on 3D, dog?
Yeah, I'm on 3D.
Okay, let me see if I can jump on. I have a predictive text that is not letting me. There we go. It didn't let me jump servers. All right, we'll see if that will work. If just logging in and logging back out will help the speed. All right, so any questions on that overview of the account plan? All right, so now we're going to look at the next tab, which is the relationships on the account plan. So this is with your looking at the contacts side of your company record. I'm going to close some of these windows too to see if that will help. All right, so looking at the relationship side, you'll see that this bar up here stays the same across the tabs, as do the up next area, and then the relationships. The key contacts go away and they move down here so that you can see all of the contacts, not just the key contacts, yes, no. So if I have more contacts associated, you would see those here. So looking at your objectives, if you had created objectives here, typically there's an objectives area down here and then that comes over here. Okay, something must be going on with their account area. Your objectives, you can create them. Hopefully it's showing on your screen, but here there's typically an objectives area and you would just click add and add, just like we saw on the properties that I had added. Then those show up here and then continue over to here. Your account relationships, if these contacts, that's the contact record that I had created earlier, my title, and then if you had filled out some of this other information. In order to edit any of this, you do have to open the actual, oh, I should have opened it in a different window. You have to open the contact record and then change any of this information. So if I were to change their happy level, I obviously haven't put a value list together for that. Happy, unhappy. All right, and then here, this is again where you would have a bunch of typing fields that you can add in here. Well, I'm still typing, so of course it's empty. This is a difference for CoCentral. Typically, like on a grid, you click once in order to type. Here, you have to double click in order to get here. Just FYI, so that you're not getting frustrated with not being able to type. All right, so if you have action plans, I personally would not put the action plans here because I would want my action plans to be a task or a call log. But if your team works better maybe in list form or something like that, then you can use this. I wouldn't want it to be here. I'd want it to be more in that task or call log area so that when I am on the company record, I can see it and review it and get to it quickly. Here, to me, you're kind of trapping that information, but your culture might be different and want to use this. Competitors, here you can add your competitors. The only reason I would use this versus the other areas in CoCentral is that it does let you type without creating a company record. In the competitors area of an opportunity record, you do have to have your competitor as a company record within CoCentral. So just determine if you are okay with the competitor being a company record. If you're not, this might be an alternative for you. And there's less required. And then obviously double click and put all of, they changed it. Competitor company is required. No way. Ugh. All right, well, disregard what I've said. They've changed it to where you actually have to have it as a company record now. It was not like that 2 weeks ago when we rolled this out for another client. So you have to have the record either way. All right, any questions on the relationship tab? I feel like you guys get the basics of the rest of that record. Strategy and action plan, again, you just go through and type. If you have milestones that you want to add, then you can go click these little adds and then type. Just note that some of the pop-up windows have a save button, some do not. You just have to know and look for your save button versus no save button over here. And then you can have a printable summary now, which we couldn't have 2 weeks ago. So that was a new feature that was just rolled out. It looks like we have a question. Firm estimated fee. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. Instead of total estimated fee, it's firm estimated fee that comes through. I think I might still have that record open. So let's look at that number. All right, so this is the print friendly version, and then you would just print from this screen. and you would print from here. I'm going to refresh and see if those dollars that we just changed come through. While that is scrolling forever, does anybody have any questions on the account plan? I don't know why that is not coming through. Client, opportunity, it is open. Unless we've relabeled this crazy in the background, which definitely could have happened if we were trying to test someone's account. No. No. Okay. Maybe we've discovered another bug. I'm not sure. All right, so the next plan is the opportunity plan. It's very similar to what we've already looked at. So if you are on an opportunity record in the upper right-hand corner, you will see the opportunity plan. Once you click the opportunity plan, it's going to look very similar. Again, you're back out to new development or new interface. So it's got that orange and blue scheme with the light blue background. If you've got information filled out in these areas, it will come through. In order to configure what you want to see here on the app market, the configure area in the upper right-hand corner, you can click opportunity plan, which will show up here in the middle. And that's where you get to determine what all of these are. So your assigned BD role, you have to go in and tell it what that is. So if that is principal in charge, if that's your project executive, whoever that is for you, you come in and tell what that role is. So you can come through and answer all these questions. And then once you go back out, if you have staff members assigned to this, when you refresh, if they have that role, it will come through. But they have to have that role for this specific opportunity. Down here, you can supposedly, hopefully it works, turn things on and off and do the tool tips as well. Here, you would see the goal statement, and those are not panel specific, those are field specific for them, and that's why they have two different areas for that one. Looking at the opportunity plan, it's very similar to, this is what was missing from that other screen. So you've got your objectives and they're just line items. So you would just type like objective 1 and then whatever it is. And then that would have come through on that next tab when we had signed all those objectives or created them. The fields that we saw on that fields tab are here. So these are what they're considering panels. These are the 3 fields that are here. These cannot be relabeled. If you go out to the client, now you're looking at a plan within a plan. So now we just jumped into the account plan from the opportunity plan. So everything that we just looked at would be here. And then you can get to those different tabs that we were originally looking at. I've never seen Site. I don't know what this is. It doesn't appear to be doing anything. Has anybody ever used Site? I don't know what that new development is. Doesn't seem to do anything. And again, within the last 2 weeks, we've been able to print. So now you can have a print-friendly version. It's going to open it up in a new tab and then allow you to print here. I'm curious if that was meant to be a panel. Yeah, Site does not show up anywhere. The only thing that I would point out here is that if you have an owner associated in addition to a client, their name would be listed here. And obviously I don't have an address, or the address would show up right here. any questions on the opportunity plan? Oh, it froze on me. Okay. So those are the 3 plans that, or I guess 4 if we consider property, that I wanted to point out on the call today. Does anybody have any other questions specifically about the plans? One cool thing that I did want to share about the client that we just rolled out the account plan for, and that is that they have repurposed oh, I shouldn't have shut that window. They have repurposed a yes no field on the oh no, I think it wasn't. We created a custom field. We were going to repurpose this one and we didn't like how it worked. So we created a custom company field, and it was a value list, and it was account plan, yes, no. So that we could actually run a report and know what company records had an account plan. So that way they could keep track of which ones did, which ones didn't. And that they also used this as a key clients or a top clients, targeted clients, however you want to use that nomenclature, for knowing that they needed to track on the account level or the company level what's going on. So they already had an existing form. We repurposed the account plan and relabeled things. That's why I know that it did work at one point, to match their current form. So they're going to be moving away from their Excel form into CoCentral, but they only have 25 to 30 companies that they do this account plan for at a strategic level. So we needed a way to be able to report on it. Currently, you can't report on if there is or is not an account plan filled out. So this was our kind of workaround for that. And then the value list, I simply just put yes or no. So when we go to the company record, it just looks like a drop down so that you can see where and which company records have account plans. So here's where you'll see it. In order to access it, you just have to edit. And then here is where the yes, no comes into play. And because it's only happening on a handful, 25 to 30, we didn't make it required or anything. It's just there so that they can denote which ones have that. So I do recommend having some sort of either standardization of the name, using the acronym to be a searchable field so that you know, like if you put AP in the acronym field, that you know that there's an account plan attached to that. Just some way for you to be able to report on it so that you know which ones do or do not have that filled in. Because if you're going to spend the time to fill it out, I definitely want to be able to get it out of the system and use that information. All right, well, we have about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have questions about the plans that we reviewed today, any of the information, or just general questions that, since we have a little bit of time, that you want to cover? Remember, if you're trying to use your audio, that it looks like everybody is muted. So if you want to unmute to do that. I was going to jump into that product update to just make sure that there was nothing huge that I could point out for you guys. So I guess that was last week that they let us print that one. on our website, if you go out to our stories, I did do a blog article on the product updates here. Just highlighted the ones that have come out in the last quarter so that you do know what the new features are or anything like that that have come out if you're not following or you weren't following the product updates. Obviously, there's a ton of new features for CFO and bug fixes. So if you okay, so it looks like Amy continued to test. Thank you very much. And it looks like it is the estimated cost field that is coming through. So we can double check that quickly. Thank you, Amy, for not giving up.
You're welcome. It was bugging me.
It was bugging me too. I mean, one would think that they would allow us to choose which field is coming through, but it looks like we do not get that option. All right, so estimated cost. Did we relabel that one? It looks like we did. Estimated cost is construction sales dollars. All right, while that is rethinking, jumping back over here, if you are using CoCentral for Outlook, there's a ton of new features we can create now within CoCentral for Outlook, so never leaving your Outlook. If you're not using CoCentral for Outlook, put in a ticket and see if you can have that enabled for your firm. There may or may not be an additional fee depending on which pricing you are currently on. This feature for company records being confidential, no, I spent a good amount of time testing some other part of this. It is not retroactive. So marking the company record confidential does not change any existing project records that you have. If you mark the company record as confidential and that client or company is listed as an owner or a client on the project, it does not change it. If you change a client on an existing project and mark it as confidential, it does not change the company record to confidential. So really what this is good for is moving forward. So if the company record is marked confidential and then you create or add that to the projects, then it will turn it to yes. This is very strange. So I went through and I did screenshots of this so you can walk through all of the steps so you can know what I'm saying or what I'm talking about. Here is where it's the clearest. So when there is no company name, the confidential is defaulted to no. Once I put that company record in here that does have it set to yes, it will change it from no to yes. But again, that is only new associations, not current associations. And then if you come in here and change this to yes on something that's already been tagged, it will not change the company to confidential. The other one that I wanted to point out, Amy saved me on this one. I was getting super frustrated because in our test account, it was already checked is confidential, but I couldn't find it and it wasn't there. So what we discovered is you have to uncheck and then recheck the box and click save for this new feature to be engaged. Silly, I know. So just go check it, uncheck it, and then click, or excuse me, uncheck it, check it, and then click save. Thank you, Chris. Good luck on your next meeting. All right, so those are the major updates. If you want to look at this post and you see something else that is that you have questions on, or any of the other updates, since I did post this the end or middle to the end of October, there's been a couple of releases since this one. Feel free to reach out, shoot me or Amy an email, and we're happy to follow up with any additional clarification. I'm going to go out and see if this has now, yay, it pulled it through. So to clarify, it is the estimated cost field that is coming through on the account plan open opportunities dollar field here. All right, if there are no other questions, then you guys have a great rest of your week. And we are here for you in any capacity that you need us. So please let us know if there's anything we can do. And you'll have, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Bye, Courtney.
Bye.